Right. All right, and then a little bit more analysis here. So here's a bar graph. In exercises 1 through 3, use the bar graph, which shows the type of transportation students use to get to school at Adams High School in a recent year. So different modes of transportation, the different grades, and the number of students that do that. Which class has the fewest students driving to school? That would definitely be 10th grade. There's not space for a complete answer, so we'll skip that here, folks. Which two classes have the same number of students walking to school? So walking is the darkest color. Looks like 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th. Which class has about twice the number of students riding the bus as driving? So we're looking for a riding. They have twice as many riders. So that's riding is the bus is the light one. Which class's light bar is twice as tall as a class's dark bar? So this one's, I'm going to just guess that that's like 220. So I'm looking for something that's like 110, and that looks like it's right about, driving is not the darkest one, it's the middle one, right there. So I said that which class has twice the number of students riding the bus as to driving to, we should compare within the classes, folks. So here, this is way more than twice. And here, that's way more than twice. And that's about twice. So 12th grade is the class that has twice as many bus riders as drivers. Okay. In exercises 4 through 6, use the bar graph, which shows the student to teacher ratio for public schools in these years. Back when Mr. B was born. Actually, it was before that one, but anyway. Which year had the greatest difference between the student to teacher ratios for elementary and secondary school? So when we look at our graph, here's our student to teacher ratio. That's what they're calling it. The lighter one is elementary students. The darker one is secondary or high school students. And then this is the year and the number of students to teacher. Which is funny because this really isn't typically the case, folks. Typically in high school, you almost have about twice as many kids per class than elementary school. So this is kind of backwards. Which year has the greatest difference between the ratios? So this one is barely 3 students or barely 1 full bar. This one's over 1 full bar. This one's also over 1 full bar, but I think this one looks a little bit bigger. You could argue that that one might be it. I'm not going to argue with you, but I disagree with 1985. I'm going to say 1990 has the biggest difference in student to teacher ratios. What is the approximate pupil to teacher ratio for secondary schools in 1985? So can you identify the right bar? So we're looking at 1985, so it's one of these two. 1985 is one of these two, and then secondary schools would be this one right here. What's the approximate ratio of pupils per teacher? So that's about, it's somewhere between 15 and 16, folks. Maybe it's 16. I'm not sure if it actually is a third of the way up here because every third would be an actual whole student to teacher. So I'm going to say 15. You could say 16, and that would also be correct. Anything else would not be. What pupil to teacher ratio had the larger overall decrease from 1985 to 1990? So we're comparing the elementary ratio to the high school ratio. Which one decreased or went down more? I think the secondary one decreases more. Secondary. There's more of a decrease in the darker bars from 85 to 90. The following information represents a company's revenue, so how much money they bring in for 6 months. So here's revenues and their expenses. In what month was the difference in the revenue the greatest? Now, what's nice here is they don't ask us to graph it. You know what? I really don't. I think they will actually in a little bit. So where's the greatest difference? Well, so you're going to subtract expenses away from the revenue. So there's $10. There's a negative $19. 10, negative 19. Their expenses outweighed what they brought in. There's a negative 18. There is negative 6. There is 20, and there is 21. So I'd say December. Profit is the difference of revenue and expenses. Calculate the profit for each month. Done. Construct a double line graph of the revenue and profit for the company. So it looks like we'll be going from, we'll actually be in the negatives here. So we're going to go up to 62 and down to negative 20. So here is 0, negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20. Boy, I think this will fit on here with the scaling. 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh, Mr. P might have gotten a little bit of trouble here. Yep. Good thing I can fix that pretty easily. Oh, it's a little putzier than I hoped it would be. Boom. 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 $45, $50, $55, $60. All right, so I don't have a whole lot of space to label this. Dollars. I can't go much more specific than that, folks, right now because, well, you'll see in a second. And then we'll go July. August. September. October. November. December. All right, so a double line graph. So we're going to start by making dots. So let's just do revenue to start with. Revenue's at 48. Then 39 for August. Notice that I had to separate 2 months between each, or 2 squares in between each month. 36, 42, blue 42, blue 42, 57, and 62. You know what? I should actually put 65 on here. You want to cover beyond the highest and lowest point. So now to make this a line graph, I connect the dots. And so we're going to say on our key, we're going to say that this is companies, there is no name for the company, company's revenue. And then profits, we're at 10, negative 19, negative 18, negative 6. Black Friday must be coming. That's when, so in counting black is, means you're still in debt. Oh, just kidding. Red means you're still in debt. Black means that you're into profits. You've paid for all the merchandise that you've purchased, and now you're selling it. So you've already paid off what you owe, and now, ideally, people want to, companies, WalMarts or whatever, want to get out of debt by right around Thanksgiving time, and that's usually when it happens. So that's the origin of the term Black Friday. And then after that, all their sales in December, which is usually pretty high, is all profit. Anywho, that's a great side story, isn't it? All right, so profit in November is 20. And then 21 in December, if I calculated the numbers correctly. And then, as best as you can, sketch a straight line. Does not need to be perfect. If you want to use a ruler, you can, but geometry will be making a lot of lines, and we want you to just try to draw straight-ish lines. Like what I've drawn is good enough. So there we are. Were the 6 months profitable? Explain. Well, if you add up the profits, we've got $51 gained, and then this company, in the time they made $51, and maybe that's thousands of dollars, folks. Ooh, I should label that with my money. The money is in thousands. In thousands. And then I'd call this company's revenue versus profit. The good months outweigh the bad months. I think when you add up the negative profits, it's 37.43. So the company lost $43,000 in profits in 3 months, but gained 51,000 in the other 3. So they had a total profit of $8,000. That's the difference between what they lost and what they gained. Boom.